But you know, what I heard from someone that's in the NFL, that the NFL told other, don't draft him. Do not draft him. We're gonna make an example out of
Day that the Buccaneers safety has gotten officially waived from the team. According to reports, this decision to waive Sanders was in connection to an on-field incident in which Sanders would end up striking opposing player.
I'm proud of my kids, all of them. And I prepared my kids for any and everything that could possibly happen in life and in sports.
To the casual fan, it might just look like two players having a tough time finding their rhythm, but Eric Dickerson is throwing out a bombshell. He's saying this isn't just bad luck on the field, it's a setup. According to him, the league actually wants this to happen. Dickerson claims the NFL is straight up blackballing the Sanders family because they don't like the way Coach Prime talks, walks, and flips the whole system on its head. And here's the wild part. It's not the first time. If you've been watching football long enough, you know this plays right into a bigger pattern. We've seen players pushed out when they didn't fall in line. We've seen those infamous inmates running the prison comments shake the whole league. We've even seen moments that carried heavy plantation vibes. This isn't random. It's history repeating itself with new names on the chopping block.
Couple days, 3 days until roster cutdowns. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like you belong here on this team?
Obviously.
Let's get into it. What really went down with Shiloh, what's happening with Shadow, what Dickerson actually said, and how it all connects to the darker side of the NFL. First up, Shiloh. This man was literally 1 day away from stepping onto the field for his very first regular season snap in the NFL, the dream moment every player grinds for. But it all flipped in a preseason game. Shiloh clashed with Bills tight end Zach Davidson, and cameras caught Zach yanking Shiloh's face mask after the whistle. That right there could have been a flag, or at the very least, the ref stepping in to break it up. But nope, that's not how it played out. Instead, Shiloh threw a punch, and in an instant, Zach flipped the script, acting like the helpless victim. Now here's the thing. Scuffles like this, they happen all the time. We've seen them in preseason practices, joint workouts, you name it. And usually the fallout is light, maybe a fine, maybe a quick suspension, then everybody moves on. But this time, Shiloh got hit with something completely different. Less than 24 hours later, Tampa Bay straight up waved him off the roster. And here's the kicker. Coach Todd Bowles didn't even stand up for him. After Tampa Bay's 23-19 loss, Bowles brushed it off with one line, calling Shiloh's punch inexcusable. That's it. No mention of Zach grabbing the face mask first. No accountability for the guy who started it. Just Shiloh taking the full blame while the instigator skated free.
In a discussion about player protests during the national anthem, Houston Texans owner Bob McNair said, quote, "We can't have the inmates running the prison." Excuse me?
See, the real issue isn't just Shiloh getting flagged and tossed. It's what the ref didn't do. The man was standing right there, watching Zach Davidson put hands on Shiloh with clear, unnecessary roughness after the play was already dead, and still didn't bother to throw a flag. That's wild. And let's not act like this is Shiloh's first time dealing with extra heat from officials. Back at Colorado, he was hit with that targeting ejection, a call most fans thought was flat out trash. Now fast forward to the NFL, and one messy preseason moment becomes the excuse to kick him out completely, all for defending himself. Meanwhile, Zach Davidson, he didn't even catch a single penalty for what he did. Nothing. And he went on later denying that he provoked anything, trying to spin it by saying Shiloh just got mad about being blocked. To make it worse, reporters lobbed questions at him like he was innocent from the jump, framing it like Shiloh just snapped out of nowhere. It's straight up unfair. And here's the kicker. You don't even have to be a Shiloh Sanders fan to see the bias staring you in the face.
What'd you say to Shiloh Sanders after that ejection?
Well, you know you can't throw punches in this league. I mean, that's inexcusable. They're gonna get you every time. Got to grow from that.
And then what did you say to the officials after that? It looked like you were possibly trying to argue with
We're
them.
talking about another play.
Here's the real problem. It wasn't just Shiloh getting flagged and tossed. It was the ref choosing not to act. He was right there staring at Zach Davidson grabbing and yanking on Shiloh well after the play was dead. And somehow no flag came out. That silence spoke louder than any whistle could. And this isn't new for Shiloh. Back in Colorado, he got hit with that brutal targeting ejection, a call fans everywhere blasted as nonsense. Fast forward, and now one heated preseason clash turns into him losing his spot in the NFL, all for defending himself in the moment. Meanwhile, Zach Davidson walked away untouched. No penalty, no blame, nothing. Then he had the nerve to deny even provoking Shiloh, telling folks he only got mad because he was just blocked. On top of that, reporters tossed him soft questions, framing the story like Shiloh blew up out of nowhere while Zach stayed squeaky clean. It's messed up beyond words. And honestly, you don't even have to be rooting for Shiloh Sanders to notice how lopsided and unfair this whole situation is.
To that moment with Shiloh where it felt like you kind of were just finishing your block through the play and he just felt some sort of way about it.
Yeah, something on the backside of screens we preach is the guy on the backside is making the touchdown block. I was just taking the far deep DB and trying to finish through the whistle, and he had a little bit more to say.
Did you say to him, "You're too small"?
I didn't say anything. I may have gestured something, but if you get mad for getting blocked, I can't really control what he does.
With everything that's happened, you can't blame fans for thinking the NFL is deliberately sabotaging Shiloh, because none of this adds up. One fan on X flat out said, "It's a setup." They claimed the players were pushed to start an attack. The refs were told to sit back and wait, and the official only threw a flag when Shiloh fought back. Another fan wrote, "The league is conspiring against that family, and honestly, it feels that way." Just days before Shiloh's drama, his brother Shadow got his own taste of controversy. Late in the Browns' preseason game against the Rams, literally the final 2 minutes, the perfect time to prove how he handles pressure, Shadow was yanked out of the game. Coach Kevin Stefanski pulled him and threw in Tyler Huntley instead. And the internet went wild, accusing Stefanski of straight-up sabotaging Shadow as part of some bigger plan against the Sanders family. People weren't holding back either. One person on X wrote, "Kevin Stefanski has pledged allegiance to Jim Crow to prove that Shadow Sanders doesn't belong." Another piled on, saying, "Man, they made their decision before they even drafted him. Go to a better organization, Sanders, please." The vibe was loud and clear. Folks believed the fix was in before Shadow even got his shot. And here's where it gets even crazier, because Eric Dickerson jumped in with his own bombshell. He says he heard from a very reliable source inside the NFL that teams were directly told not to draft Shadow. According to him, the league wanted to make an example out of the Sanders family from the jump. That's not just whispers, that's a straight-up allegation of sabotage at the highest level.
But what I heard from someone that's in the NFL, that the NFL told other, don't draft him. Do not draft him. We're gonna make an example out of him. And this came from a very good source, And he said that, I won't say who, somebody called the Cleveland Browns and said, "Don't do that. Draft
Really?
him." Yep, draft him. Don't do that. Because they weren't gonna draft him either. They weren't gonna draft him.
And here's the thing, this angle isn't brand new. Sports commentator Mike Florio even hinted at it before. He suggested the NFL wanted to humble Shadow because he refused to play the game their way. In other words, Shadow didn't bow down, didn't move how they expected, and didn't show that yes sir energy the league loves to see. That rubbed certain people the wrong way, and instead of respecting his individuality, it looks like they're trying to clip his wings before he can even take off.
Remember, Mike Florio also alluded to the NFL trying to humble Shador because he didn't bow down and kiss their ASS.
The fact that he shouldn't have been picked number 144, it's a subtle repudiation of the attitude that teams have when the draft rolls around.
Yeah.
That the players should all line up and bow down to the statue of the NFL draft.
Yep.
We're going to deify the draft because how dare you treat the process other than your lips on our ass. If you dare deviate from the process of your lips on our ass, you will pay for it. Even if it hurts us, because collectively and individually, we ignore the talent to send you a message. So others will know when the time comes for the pre-draft process, take your lips and put them on our ass. Because that's why he fell. He treated it like he was being recruited, not like he was being interviewed. Well, sucks for the teams that allowed that to keep them from drafting a guy who clearly is more talented than pick number 144.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It's talent.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
Sure.
People allowed all that other stuff to get in the way of the talent, and they want to send this kid a message because they don't want people to have power. So many of the threads, Chris, of all the stuff we're seeing now in the NFL is about power and about showing power to the players. The teams have the power. The league has the power. The players don't. When they try to show it, they're getting screwed.
Now, to be fair, not everybody is buying into this theory. Some fans argue Eric Dickerson can't be trusted because of his long-standing beef with the NFL. Others insist there's no conspiracy at all, that Shadow just wasn't good enough for the league. Former Jets scout Daniel Kelly even jumped into the mix on X, linking to Shadow's pre-draft report. In his caption, he wrote, "I did the work on Shadow Sanders pre-draft. I put an undrafted free agent grade on him. Bottom line, he wasn't good enough, and he's not good enough." According to Kelly, Shadow never showed the skill set or mindset needed to survive at the quarterback position. He claimed Shadow already hit his ceiling at Colorado, calling him the most hesitant quarterback he's ever evaluated, and adding that he came with more character red flags than any prospect he had ever studied. And if you read Kelly's breakdown, it's rough. His scouting notes on Shadow described him as tough, athletic, resilient, but a low-ceiling prospect with average arm strength. Takes time to heat up in games, lacks confidence against stronger opponents and goes into a shell. Couldn't speed up his process when the moment demanded it. Prone to fumbling snaps, good at controlling space behind the line, but inconsistent when reading progressions. Tends to lock in on targets, telegraph throws, and struggles with timing. Hesitation is baked into his game. Limited trust in his receivers. Questionable vision of the field. That's straight from the report, and Kelly made sure fans knew every detail was backed up by game film and character notes. But even with that harsh critique, plenty of fans are still convinced this goes beyond talent. They argue the NFL clearly has an agenda against the Sanders family, and they believe it all connects to Deion and how he raised his sons, to know their worth, demand respect, and never shrink themselves for anyone. One fan who introduced himself as a Black Marine Corps veteran and single father said, "For me, this is a tale as old as time. It is a systemic epidemic of white America to take issue with any Black man who is present and active in their children's lives and shows them how to be confident and equal to white men." He added, "It is clear to anyone at this point, the NFL is operating with implicit bias and microaggressions, using blind prejudice to derail the success of these young kings. This is nothing new. History is repeating itself again right in front of us. Accountability would be nice, but I'm not holding my breath." Still, Deion himself doesn't seem shaken. Asked about Shiloh getting waived, he brushed it off, saying he isn't worried because his sons will succeed with or without the NFL. In his eyes, the league needs his boys more than they need the league. So now the real question becomes, what do you think? Is the NFL truly setting up the Sanders brothers because they won't bow down? Or is it simply about talent and nothing more? Drop your thoughts because this debate is only getting louder.